So everyone in the Hedera community has been wondering the same thing for a long time. When Coinbase? There's been every color of attempt to get our favorite coin listed on the exchange, but all have paled in comparison to the latest hashtag Hello Coinbase push that's been trending on Twitter. Today, we bring on the guys who started the movement, longtime community members and entrepreneurs, Brandon B. and Patches. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us. It's awesome to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. It's going to be good. So, Patches, we'll start with you. How did this whole thing get cooked up and come to fruition?
Yeah, I think just as a community, we've gone through a lot in the last 6 months. Obviously, I'm more of a NFT, that's where my main focus is, building services projects over there. And there's just been a lot of things that we had to focus on, such as making sure that we had a good wallet like Hashpack that a lot of people could easily connect to, that we had places like Zeus Market or Turtleman Launchpad that you could purchase and mint NFTs off of, and refining that user experience to a point where you could say, hey, we need other people to come into Hedera to mature the network, mature the NFT ecosystem to be able to adopt people from other chains. And in the last, I think, month, we've kind of realized that as a network that we hit that moment where it's not hard to onboard people anymore. We now have the tools.
Yeah. Infrastructure's built. Yep.
Right. And not that it doesn't need some maturity and we're still growing, but we can now grab some people. And the community felt that, and there was a small channel created in Discord for ad ideas and ways that we as a community could come together and promote. And in that chat is where Brandon and I started talking, and a bunch of other people, it wasn't just us two, about ideas of what we could do. And there was just a brainstorm in there where people were like, well, we need a DEX, or we need like all of these other things. And I just interjected and was like, the shortest way to easily tell someone on the street to buy a Hedera NFT is go to Coinbase, buy $100 of HBAR, send it to your Hashpack, mint a bump, mint whatever. And yes, there's all these other ancillary things that could work, but that is the clearest, easiest, most user adopted direct path. And then I just kind of said that to Brandon, and then Brandon's brain turned on overdrive. And then I'll just hand it off to you because you kind of took it from there.
Yeah. So, I mean, right when Patches said we should do a hashtag rather than the community, and just, the insight that was given around, there's all sorts of different things we can do, to make it easier for people to buy NFTs on Hedera and stuff. But really his perspective blew it a little more wide open, up a level, kind of like, well, what if we just it comes back to Coinbase, right? I mean, there's a reason so many people have been asking for it in the Hedera community. It's because it would make things easier. I think that people in certain states have trouble buying HBAR. I think that people in certain parts of the world maybe have trouble getting HBAR. And we've wanted it listed on Coinbase. I mean, whether you like it or not, whatever way you slice it, Coinbase is kind of a rite of passage. It's the gate that you have to go through for crypto. And that's where everyone is. And that's just kind of a reality. So I think that Patch is sharing that perspective and just kind of realizing, wow, maybe this is, one of many humps we just kind of have to get over. Mm-hmm. I thought, okay, let's dive in. Let's take a look at this. I think I mentioned in an article that was published, I think I literally canceled a meeting. I was just kind of like instant light bulb moment. This is something we got to do. And I think that what's come out since the Hello Coinbase stuff has started is just, people within Hedera, the HBAR Foundation, just validating that and saying like, yeah, this is really the social proof that we need to maybe move the needle a little bit, because there's all sorts of weird and wonderful and wacky things on Coinbase. And, sometimes the reason those things get listed is because those communities organize and do something like this. And I think that Coinbase pays attention to that. It's not clear why HBAR isn't on Coinbase. It doesn't really matter which way you slice it. It's a simple equation for them. It's, if we list this asset, is that going to be a successful product for us? And the idea is, let's just say yes over and over and over and over and over again, right? in a way that's, repetitive and visible and all that great stuff.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. But I mean, we've seen Hello Coinbase used tens of thousands of times. Brendan, have you been surprised by the response?
I have. I mean, it was funny. It was really just firing from the hip. I mean, in that chat Patches and I were in, and even just DM each other back and forth, it was one of those things like, hey, check out this idea for the hashtag. It was like, great. Okay, awesome. That's cool. And then I just was working on this poster, and Patches gave me some feedback, and we revised it a little bit. And then it was kind of just like, when do we do it? Maybe tonight. It's like, okay, let's do it tonight. And then, Patches just went out there and, put it all over certain Discords. And it was crazy because, and I'm pretty sure you noticed this too, Patches, like when it kind of went out there, even in those community Discords and even some of the telegrams that I'd sent it to, it was like people already were grabbing a hold of it. And I think it was funny because you suggested we do like a coordinated blast at like 8 p.m. Eastern or something like that. And then, Coin Man's got a tweet out at 6, and we're like, okay, this thing is just doing its thing. People are excited. And yeah, you're right, Brandon. It's like 24 hours later, it was trending on Twitter across different topics, in different areas. And, it grabbed the attention of, Hedera, HBAR Foundation, fingers crossed, Coinbase. And hopefully it's just getting started.
Yeah. So, and this is the second time over the past couple of weeks that we've seen how the community can rally. And I'm really impressed with the Hedera community in general. A couple of weeks ago, or just last week, we had the ultimate cryptocurrency tournament, right? And no matter how you look at it, as far as votes go, we beat out 64 other cryptocurrencies. So it's really been impressive. We certainly can mobilize when we want to. So Patches, there's been all kinds of things, or there could be all kinds of things that could be roadblocks to HBAR getting listed on Coinbase. It could be trading volume, it could be listing fees, misconceptions about the network, all kinds of stuff. Why do you think HBAR hasn't been listed?
Yeah, I don't even know if I can wade into it. It's the way that I look at Coinbase, and this could be wrong, is that it's a capitalistic company that is, I'm pretty sure, publicly owned. And so anytime they look at listing a thing, they go, will this make us money? How many people care about it? And, there's a reason why ApeCoin is on there and not Hedera. ApeCoin, they knew instantly would have tons of volume and they're going to make money. Hedera, I don't think that case has been proven until we do campaigns such as the Hello Coinbase, where, previously before I even got into Hedera, I was a big, SHIB supporter. I really liked the SHIB army, and mainly because of how they manage their community. And they got on Coinbase not because they should have been before Hedera. I think there's an insane amount of more in the white paper of Hedera than on SHIB. But they had a continual months-long, hundreds of thousands of people asking and showing, hey, Coinbase, there is a financial gain into supporting this coin, even though I'm going to buy 7 million for a couple dollars or whatever it was at the time. So to me, you have to prove out why it's a profitable expenditure of time for their dev and resources, especially with Hedera. That's not a blockchain, so they can't copy and paste anything. So it's going to have to be a bunch of R&D and figuring out stuff. And we as a community have to say, we're a vibrant community that really wants Coinbase support, and you are going to make money if you support HBAR. And that's unfortunately the capitalistic boil down that I kind of see it going to, and what we have to attack or accommodate.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think you're hitting it spot on. I think it has a lot to do with trading volume. And then, of course, things like this, the community mobilizing and telling them that's what we want. The other thing is, I did an interview with Tom Sosnoff, and he has his own exchange. It's mainly focused on options. He's an options legend. And he was mentioning that the Coinbase fee to get listed is about $5 million. So it really, unless they see there's going to be tons of volume and they're going to get a lot of business through it, they want that fee. And there's really only a couple entities in the Hedera ecosystem that could foot that kind of bill: Hedera itself and maybe the HBAR Foundation. So I think you're hitting the nail on the head with that. So Brandon, how important do you think a Coinbase listing is at this point?
I think I'll go back to what Patches was saying. I think that when we look at something right off the bat, like the Hedera NFT scene and kind of what this originated from, and we need more people in here. We need more people to be able to get HBAR. That would make NFT creators' lives way better. As an example, I've had people reach out to me that would love to check out one of my projects and purchase it. And problem is that maybe they're not on Hedera, they don't have any HBAR, and it's like Patches was saying, it'd be great to be like, oh yeah, hop on Coinbase, grab some HBAR, throw it in hashback, good to go. Right now, it's not really that easy for most people. There's a few extra steps, and then stepping outside of NFTs, it's like there's so many different use cases and startups and brands out there that their lives would be made so much easier if HBAR was available on Coinbase. If it was so much easier for people, especially in America, I'm just up in Canada here, to get HBAR and move it into a hash pack or a wallet you can connect to the app, and it would just make things move around so much more. So I think that right now, of course, there's other exchange listings maybe that we need. Of course, there's all sorts of initiatives that we have to do in the community that the Hedera has to do to grow, and all sorts of different things happening. But if we look at something that is maybe not an easy thing to do, but an obvious thing we should try to do, getting listed on Coinbase is one of them. And like Pat just said, the way to do that is rallying the community and showing Coinbase that this is something that they should list, that this would be a successful product for them to list. And of course, the other avenue you highlighted, Brandon, is like, forking over $5 million to get a listing. So really, it's like, has the HBAR Foundation and Hedera done all they can so far? I mean, just short of forking over $5 million, I think so. And really, as a community, I think that what I'll do is I'll reference what Christian Hasker said, who does the marketing at Hedera, in a webinar that they had, I think it was December, talking about their marketing roadmap. And he basically said, what we want to do is see the community augment our marketing efforts. And that makes things kind of simple. You go, oh, hello, Future, hello, Coinbase. It's like, show these entities like Coinbase that we're kind of cohesive. We're together as a community, but, supporting the project. And I think that that's really what it's going to take, or $5 million. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah. So, we're giving an awful lot of screen time here to Coinbase. What about the exchanges that have given us support? Patches, what exchanges do you generally use right now for HBAR?
None. My own board ramp is Coinbase, buy ETH, send to Exodus, change to HBAR, send to Hashpack.
Okay.
And so everyone has their own, that's like the other thing. Everyone has their own if then else to get to Hedera. And if we can, again, make that a streamlined, hey, just buy it here, that would help a lot. And, MoonPay is great, but as Brandon was saying, that's not available in Texas. So no one in Texas can join Hedera. That's not great. But yeah, right now, I think everyone has a different shade of how they get their HBAR in. And it's a weird topic of conversation. Going to an ETH NFT Discord, it's a weird topic of conversation, just discussing where the gas fees are and when to buy and when not to buy. It's like a Hedera-centric issue that we just need to grow out of.
I got you. So, Brandon, what about you? How do you get a hold of your HBAR?
Well, I'm kind of lucky. We have a pretty interesting exchange here in Canada. So I'm actually located in Ottawa. And in Vancouver, BC, there's an exchange called Catalyx. And I can purchase HBAR with Canadian fiat. And I can, purchase Ethereum with HBAR, and super simple, easy peasy. So I haven't really had any trouble, which is great, but not everybody's in Canada. So this is why this is an important thing. And I mean, quick note, if you've got people in Canada that want to get in on your project or, hop into HBAR, Catalyx is a great option. But again, there's many, many, many more people in other places that struggle to maybe get HBAR like the state that Hedera is located in,
Well, I'll put in my 2 cents. My preferred exchanges for HBAR are Bittrex, and you can buy there with fiat. They have a BTC trading pair. They have Tether. They have ETH trading pair. So they're pretty good. They're really secure as far as I can tell. It was started by some security experts, so I like those guys. And then Binance US is the other one that I turn to or suggest other people use, and they have a fair amount of trading pairs as well. So those are my two. So moving on, you guys are both developers and entrepreneurs, as you mentioned, in the Hedera space. I'd like to get into what you guys are working on. Like Patches, you started Hashgraph Punks and Turtleman. Can you give us a rundown on that?
Whew, yeah. So Turtleman is definitely doing a lot. There's a lot of things I can't talk about, as I'm sure you hear a bunch on this podcast. But yeah, we are looking. Let's just back up. When we joined Hedera, the ethos and purpose of HBAR Punks was create the first big collection NFT project on Hedera, find the pain points, develop the solutions, give everyone else those solutions so that we can grow the NFT community together. So in that, we have built Turtleman Tools, which are kind of a tool set that most NFT projects use if you're not going through an exchange or a marketplace like Zeus that'll mint for you. That allows you to mass mint as many as you want for free. It's a downloadable free application. The code is all open sourced. And it allows anyone who is a creator to not need to know how to engineer and still be able to create their vision and an artistic vision of an NFT project and create a community around it. And so with that as our core tenant, we have a lot of projects in the fire. One, Turtleman Launchpad, which is getting more mature. We had our first HBAR Punks launch on the Launchpad, and in that, our infrastructure was great. We were serving the front end in 0.5 seconds. We had over 10,000 database requests per minute at one point, and we didn't even blink. But then the signing a transaction on Hedera got pinched on a node because there was a throttle on it. And so people had some bad user experience there. And now we're talking to Hashpack and we're talking to Hedera on how to relieve this throttle issue. And there's a bunch of good solutions going into place. So to me, that's why I see what Turtleman's doing. We're creating the things that need to exist here, finding the problems, finding the solutions for those problems, so that when someone else comes through, the snowplow of friction and problems has already come through, and now it's just a clear road. There's a path to executing your vision and to working on Hedera so that we can get more adoption from other developers, from other chains to come over here. And there's a roadmap, again, to create a project or to do some engineering on this network without having to just figure it all out from scratch.
Yeah, building out that infrastructure. And actually, I have a question for myself. So the HBAR Bull team created NFT. It's called the One Center. It's meant to commemorate the people that have the fortitude to buy the bottom. Doesn't really matter where it is, but we've already minted them. We have 100 of them already out there, but we're kind of waiting for a good opportunity to release, and we're waiting for some of the infrastructure to be built. Considering we've already minted the NFTs, could we still launch them on Turtleman? So
Turtleman, because like the ethos I just explained, we're a curated launchpad and we're very tightly curated. So we have 13 projects right now, and we will probably open up for a season 2 in the next 2 to 3 months. But at this point, we're really focused on the projects we have, understanding their needs from staking, farming, all of the mechanics that you might expect from an NFT project. And then working on, we're minting those projects so we know exactly how their token and metadata structure is, using those to create and iterate and test functionality that you would expect of a mature network, and then releasing that to the public and having it, executed on. So with that being the focus, we didn't want to have a wide, hey, 500 projects come over here and we're going to help you all. It's instead a very small subset so that we can build the tools and then again, open source when it makes sense after the code is mature, build some services on that open source code. So if you don't want to touch open source anything, you can still benefit, and then just have those answers for people when they come to Hedera and want to build.
Sure. Makes sense. So Brandon, you're the founder of Pixel Rugs. Can you tell us about that and, anything else you might be working on?
Yeah. So, I mean, Pixel Rug is my first NFT project, but not really my first time building a community. I mean, I've ran, technology publications with like 13 editors. I've been in a touring rock and roll band. And I run a creative agency, Dirksen and Davenport Inc., with my business partner, Joshua, who just put out a hash shanty that I think people have been digging on, which is awesome. But really, it's like, my whole career has really been around, creative development, helping artists develop their brand and their community, and a lot in music and all sorts of different things, and web development and branding and all that kind of stuff. And coming to Hedera, I just went, wow, this is the perfect delivery mechanism for all these sorts of things that I want to do. And with Pixel Rug, that was my first step into it. I'm working on some really exciting things within the agency with my business partner. So I'll be talking a little bit more about that in the future. But I mean, on Pixel Rug, it's like, just wanted to find a cool idea, was walking around these like metaverse spaces, so much cool artwork on the wall, nothing on the floor. So I realized, like, hey, maybe that's the untapped market in the NFT space. That can be my spot, the floor. So did some 3D NFTs, because at the time when I did Pixel Rug, when I minted them back in December, I think it was like less than 3 or 5% of NFTs were actually 3D objects, which was kind of cool. So I was one of the first on Hedera, which was interesting. Did a gallery in a platform called Spatial, which it seems that everything cool that happens in Hedera and every interesting discovery, the community just like loves on it like crazy. So now Spatial's DMing me like, how do we get on Zeus Market? Like, how do we check this stuff out? Get a hash pack, and I mean, launched the first edition series. And, they're in hundreds of people's wallets all over the world, which is fantastic. People use them every day, and they're, to decorate their spaces and everything. And I've got the limited edition series coming this spring, which is going to be exciting. 6 new designs. And a lot of them are really special to me personally. And they're going to be very limited quantities, which is nice and exciting. So a bit of a smaller drop and an exciting drop. But yeah, for me, sticking with the theme of just kind of being blown away, I launched the Pixel Rug project. It's been probably one of the most rewarding experiences I've had in my career, kind of as a creative person. And I never would have expected it to grow so quickly. So I'm just really excited to have a fun brand in the creative space, and just another, cool thing that I'm doing. I mean, I did a band for 7 years. You can still listen to that music, and that's still rocking. And the same thing with Pixel Rug is like, I've always mentioned to people, they talk about what NFT projects are good, what makes the we'll call blue chip NFT projects. And the one factor that isn't really talked about is just time. Who's going to be the 10-year, 20-year, 30-year NFT project, right? Sure. So that's where my brain's kind of always been at. And I love doing art. It's a ton of fun. And really, that's what I've got going on right now. I'm working on the limited edition series, and excited to get that out there soon this spring.
Well, I'm glad that you're finding your niche, and I've seen your gallery, and I think it looks amazing. I think it looks great. It's definitely the precursor to the future metaverse. So it looks fantastic. So guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Is there anything you guys would like to add before we let you go? Brandon, we'll start with you.
I would just say to the Hedera community at this time, when we really, really, really want to grow, we want to bring new people into the community. I think that the most important thing is, whether you're talking to somebody on another blockchain, or you're talking to someone just in your family that never heard the word Ethereum before. I think that if we meet people where they're at, and meet people with a little bit of empathy, I think that instead of just immediately trying to sell them on HBAR and Hedera and why it's so much better, because it is, I think that the best thing is meet people where they're at, and learn a little bit about them. Because in a discussion where you're talking to people on different chains or in different industries, learn a little bit about them, right? What experience have they had with crypto, and what are their needs? Because then you're really going to be able to identify what's going to excite them, right? Because at the end of the day, whether you're an artist on Ethereum or Solana or whatever it is, or HBAR and Hedera, we're all just trying to make some cool art. Whether you're a startup and stuff like that, we're all just trying to do things that we love the best way that we know how. And what's going to make people check out Hedera is if we really give a warm welcome, right? And just kind of support right from the get-go, show people how we want to be treated.
For sure. Big tent. Patches will give you the last word.
Awesome. It's just, we're in a very exciting time. We have gone through 6 months of trudging through the dirt and building these pillars of foundation for maturity. And the Hedera community is very strong. And we see what happens when we work together collectively in one direction. If we keep doing that together and working and building this community, we will allow everyone else will see why we have committed so heavily to this hash graph. Just continue to build, continue to work together. Just be kind and let's do it.
Again, thank you guys so much for coming on, and hashtag Hello Coinbase.
Hashtag Hello Coinbase all day.
Thank you so much.